Welcome to an opening bid special report. I'm Yahoo Finance executive editor Brian Sozzi. On that screen right there is our Washington correspondent, Ben Werschkul. Ben, are you even awake after that? What, the Trump speech
yeah,
at
it's
the
a
RNC?
short night, but
Ended
that speech ended at midnight last night, so it's only been 2 hours. Yeah.
You're my election historian, Ben. Is it normal that these things end at midnight or start at like 10:30? What the hell's going on here?
So this was the longest convention acceptance speech in recent American history. Trump spoke for over 90 minutes, 92 minutes in total, if you want to get precise. He now holds number 1, number 2, and number 3 for the longest acceptance speeches in history. So this was Trump being Trump, and I think that is the main takeaway here for our audience, investors, is Trump. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, so you have 3 hot takeaways. I was not trying to just have one more than you, but I actually have 4. But go ahead with your 3.
Okay.
3 hot takeaways from the speech. Fire away.
Yeah, number 1 is Trump's going to Trump. That's I think that's the main takeaway if you watch the whole speech. There was a lot of talk in the political world this week of whether his tone was going to change, whether he was going to be different after the assassination attempt, and there was a lot of that. There was some of that at the start for about the first 20 minutes. He offered lines that sounded like Obama to me, and also gave a really compelling retelling of that assassination attempt. But when you look at the second half of the speech, which is what I think investors should look at, his policies were exactly the same. It was exactly the Trump we've come to expect for a long time. He went through his list and he hardened his positions in some ways on a certain number of issues. And so my two issues to watch for investors that have broad market implications. First one is tariffs. You know, it's no news to anyone that Trump is tariff man, but J.D. Vance could also be called tariff man. He was Trump's running mate. He was announced this week, and he's also all in on this. These guys are going to reinforce each other's instincts. Even in Trump's speech last night, he was talking about how not only would he do 100% tariffs on Mexico, he would do 200% on autos for Mexico. So he's all in on this, and that's an area that he's very focused on. And I don't think the markets appreciate that the president can act quickly on that when they take office. Second issue to talk about is Ukraine. The other thing we learned this week is that the GOP is very skeptical of Ukraine. A quote I saw in Politico this week was that Ukraine better win quickly, because if Trump wins, things are going to change in terms of how U.S. helps. And so that has implications for a lot of sectors, from food to energy to the broader economy. So those are my big 3 takeaways.
I love what you said, Ben, about Trump being Trump. And it's so weird because markets have, and I'll get to my 4 in just a second, they're still trading at record highs by and large after some recent sell-offs, I would argue because of some of his commentary. But Trump being Trump is not necessarily great things. That may not make the market great again, right?
Yeah, it's all about what you focus on. I mean, in the speech last night, he talked about, he alluded to lowering corporate taxes. You know, CEOs love that. He also talked about tariffs, which they love a lot less. So it's kind of, you're getting Trump, and whether that's a good thing or bad thing for business we're still figuring out.
No, that's true. All right, so let me hit you with my 4 takeaways. Some of them are actually in line with yours, unsurprisingly. We're both experts in our field, of course. Number 1, in the second Trump presidency, you really got the sense that he's not, and maybe this is Trump being Trump, like you were saying, he's not going to have anything to lose and might really veer on the side of enacting more of his extreme policies with an eye towards solidifying his White House legacy. Look, during the week we heard from Peter Navarro. The guy just got out of jail, and he's on stage talking about really some extreme things in primetime TV slots. So that might be that's one of my takeaways there. Number 2 is something you mentioned too: the return of trade fights. I think the market has forgotten what these trade fights looked like during his first presidency. There was a lot of market volatility when he had come out on Twitter and criticized various countries. Those trade fights this time around could be more tariffs on China, that universal tariff that he has floated out there, that Wall Street is suggested could really impact economic growth around the world, and of course that includes the United States. Number 2, I would say he gave his new Silicon Valley friends a big, fat, sloppy kiss, notably these 3, Elon Musk, Tesla founder, David Sachs, and I would argue his new friend, Chamath Palihapitiya, really failed just SPAC investor there in many respects, but he gets a lot of attention because of his early investments in Facebook. Nonetheless, his shout out to the potential for lower taxes. I think this is something that group loves. Why? Because they have a lot of money in the bank account, but also they like to invent new companies. So lower taxes, less regulations are good to potentially starting new businesses, bringing them public, which would grow their wealth even more. And then my staff is just going to have to indulge me back in the control room. It's Hulk Hogan. It is Hulk Hogan. It is.
I like that, brother.
Yes. Just the video of that moment has gone wild. Of course, of Hulk ripping his shirt off, and a lot of the commentary after that was poking fun a little bit at Hulk, saying he's playing to that core Republican base. I don't think those folks realize that wrestling is not the same business as when people are sucking down beers and smoking cigarettes in diners watching this stuff in the mid '80s. I mean, this is a global business. Hulk Hogan is the Babe Ruth of his sport, controversial figure in his own right, of course. He's had a lot of stumbles over his career in life, but by and large, Babe Ruth of his sport. He's recognizable, and he's never, to my knowledge, I don't think he's ever endorsed a candidate before. So, look, if you were just trying to win the media time slot with Hulk Hogan, he certainly did.
Yeah, no, if you told me that 12 years ago that the final three speakers before the Republican nominee would be Hulk Hogan, Dana White, head of the UFC, and Kid Rock. That was 3 of the last 4 speakers before Trump spoke last night. You wouldn't believe it, and that's a real telling sort of how much Trump has changed the Republican Party. Before
I let you go, Ben, I have 2 questions for you, but one really I guess I would love to just channel into your historical knowledge, and this is inspired by a post someone put out there on X this morning. If you had no idea, if you were someone living outside of the U.S. and you saw a person with a mustache, long bleach blonde hair, a bandana on, rip their shirt off on live TV and support the president, I mean, what do you think about American politics and the state of American politics?
I know, maybe it confirms everything you think about what America is if you live somewhere else, and that's the guy on stage. I think it's if you're around the world right now, it's a hard thing to decipher what's going on in U.S. politics and with Trump specifically and what he would mean.
And then, of course, my last question, Ben, is very simply this. What you going to do, brother, when Yahoo Finance mania runs wild over you?
I know.
Tell me, Ben Werschkul, what are you going to do? I mean, look, this shirt was $150. I'm not ripping it off. Okay, all right, fair enough. Again, Ben Werschkul, our Washington correspondent, indulging me, allowing me to channel my inner Hulk Hogan. That was very cool. I appreciate it for all that insight. Ben, thank you so much. And, of course, to all our opening bid fans out there on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you might find us, I would love to hear from you, your thoughts on the Republican National Convention. It was a big week for the Republican Party, big week for American politics. Hit us with those likes on YouTube. Hit us with those comments below. Get at me on X at Brian Sozzi. I'd love to hear your thinking after this big week. Thanks for riding with us on this opening bid journey.